this is the day. We will know a whole lot by the time the dust settles.
Everything matters. That's where we win right here. But on the field.
But where we want to be at the end of the season starts with our mentality and our attention to detail today.
Welcome into the weekly PSECU Game Preview as we get you set for Penn State and Auburn coming up this Saturday inside Beaver Stadium, where 110,000 plus will take center stage to cheer on their Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, coming up on today's show, we'll hear from head coach James Franklin as he addresses the local media. We'll also visit with Theo Johnson one-on-one, sophomore tight end for Penn State University. And then we're going to bring you an exclusive look over at Old Main, where College Game Day is getting set to roll into town and has officially started constructing their exclusive stage. I'm your host, Mitch Gerben. We'll also hear from Steve Jones, the voice of the Penn State Nittany Lions. He'll join us up here shortly as we visit with Theo Johnson, hear from head coach James Franklin, and ultimately preview Penn State and Auburn. But while we wait for head coach James Franklin, let's go back and take a look at how Penn State got to their 2-0 record. And that all started last Saturday against Ball State. Here we go. This is the first half. Penn State shuts out Ball State on a 3-and-out to open up the game. And then they ultimately have a nice 78-yard drive. 13 plays, 4 minutes and 33 seconds taken off the clock, ultimately capped off by running back Noah Kane. They follow that up with a nice defensive stop once again against Ball State. Here you go. First quarter, 9 minutes left on the clock. 3rd and 5. A nice stop there by the Penn State defense. Joey Porter Jr. collecting a nice tackle there. Then Sean Clifford connects with Kevon Lee down the right side. A nice connection, and good to see the running back get going in the passing game. And then ultimately, it's Sean Clifford that caps things off with a 1-yard rushing touchdown, the 9th of his career. That extended the lead to 14-0. That Penn State defense continued to roll in this one. Arnold Abacady, who continues to be one of those names that Penn State fans have circled on their roster, continues to be a outstanding performer for Penn State's defense, as you see him right there, also helping out on the defensive side of the football. Here we go with Jahan Dotson. Watch Juice Scruggs, the offensive lineman right here, picks up 1-2. I guess you could say it's 3 blocks right there, as Jahan Dotson picks up a 25-yard touchdown, making it 24-3. Clifford to Dotson, and here in the third quarter with 14:18 left on the clock, this is Kevon Lee rushing towards the right side. You saw a couple of nice rush plays there from Kevon Lee, who has continued to get that momentum going on the rushing side of the football. But that's how Penn State got here. We're going to send it over to head coach James Franklin, who addresses the media ahead of Penn State and Auburn.
His dad played at West Virginia. Mom went to West Virginia. He gets it. You know, he went to a great high school that prepared him as well, and Coach Soule, who I coached at the University of Maryland. He just literally, I use him, the players get sick of hearing about it because I use him as an example all the time. You know, he's 327 pounds. He dominated the conditioning test, could have probably passed it with the linebackers. I think his wrestling background has been huge for him. His mental and physical toughness is phenomenal. He's got a great motor. He understands leverage. I love him. I love him. I'm a huge fan of PJ's. You know, we took him to media day. He was awesome with my family. He always is. Represents the program so well. Makes plays on Saturday, not at the expense of his role. You know, there's some guys sometimes that to make a play, they go outside of the framework of the defense. PJ doesn't do that. He's going to hold his gap. He's going to do his responsibility, and that's when you have a chance to be pretty good. But he's literally the example I use all the time. I just said it, I think, yesterday after practice. You know, almost every day, Brisker and PJ Mustipher are like the two first guys out on the field. They're not just out here, like they got a plan every day of what they're working on. So I love them. I love them. I'm trying to figure out you guys have heard me say this before. I'm trying to figure out how to get mom and dad to maybe have a few more, send them on one of them romantic vacations that I used to see the commercials, Mount Airy Lodge in the Poconos with the heart-shaped beds and the champagne hot tubs. You guys don't talk. Everybody's quiet looking at me like I'm a weirdo. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Poconos, exactly. My coach at East Stroudsburg used to always say, hey, this is a $500 day in the Poconos. People paid big money to come here, and you're here for free. Like, we used to hear that all the day in training camp, and the gnats were in our eyes. And that's when we did 3-a-days the entire camp, which I still don't know if it was legal at that time.
James, can you share any of the backstory on how this series came to be? Because it's kind of unique playing an SEC Big Ten series in a regular season.
Our administration wanted to play Auburn.
And so you reached out to them, and who reached out to who?
No, I don't necessarily feel like that. You're constantly getting people that reach out about games. We get probably emails or contacted, probably weekly. And some make sense and some don't. But this obviously was set a while back, and it's interesting because you have all the discussions about strength of schedule. And the Big Ten already plays 9 conference games. For a while there, we didn't play any 1AA opponents because the model was supposedly strength of schedule to position our teams and our conference best for the playoffs. And that was a decision that was made. And obviously it's an exciting game, and the fans are excited about it and those types of things. It's a great opportunity for us. We've embraced it. And we've practiced extremely well. I was surprised. I think I saw something. There's only been like 3 games, I think, maybe ever. I read it somewhere between the Big Ten and the SEC in the regular season like that.
Ranked opponents.
Yeah, was it ranked opponents? Is that what it was? Something like that. So obviously it hasn't happened very often for some reason or another.
Hey, James, your name comes up every year for jobs. Is there any reason you just don't go, hey, listen, I'm not interested in staying?
I have. But I've also found and tracked this over time that really no matter what you say, people aren't happy with. So I've decided that I'm going to handle this internally and talk to our team. It happens every single year. I'm not worried about distractions in the media and with the fans. I'm worried about my team. So I talked to my staff about it. I talked to the players about it, the leadership council in detail. But I think that's the best approach. Yeah, we'll address it with the recruits as well. So my conversations with the recruits and my conversations with my team we'll have, and then I know you'll call every one of them to ask what I said. But yeah, I'll have conversations with them. But again, having conversations with the media and having conversations with anybody else, I'm concerned about my team and my future team.
To what extent do you think misinformation?
And when I say my future team, I'm talking about the recruits.
To what extent do you think misinformation is part of the cycle?
A big part of it. I'd love to talk about Auburn. That's the 3rd question we've had about it. I'd love to talk about Auburn. I think there's a lot of misinformation. The problem, in my opinion, with today's media and social media, that I don't mean this as an attack on anybody here, is everybody wants to be the first to say things so they can get credit.
I got an Auburn question for you.
Thank you.
How hard is it in a team sport for one individual to take over a game?
I'm sorry, what's one more time?
How hard is it in a team sport like football for one individual to take over a game?
I think it really depends, to your point, on the team sport. If it's basketball and you're talking about 5 guys, 1 out of 5 is a significant number. Football, you're so much more dependent because, like, even in basketball, depending if you're playing man coverage or whatever, you can kind of spread everybody out and make it a one-on-one game. We try to do similar things in football, but that can be challenging. But yeah, there's been guys that have had significant impacts, but I think it's more challenging in the game of football because you're so dependent on your teammates. If you're a running back, you're dependent on the O-line. If you're an O-lineman, you're dependent on the quarterback getting it out on time. The receivers, getting open in their routes, the receivers being dependent on the quarterback throwing it, so on and so forth. The linebackers being dependent on the defensive line to do their job. You're just so dependent in the game of football.
How are you preparing for Auburn, considering they have basically brand new coaching, all-around brand new coaching staff? How are you?
Yeah, that's a challenge. They've blown out the first two opponents, so you don't have a lot of legitimate game tape from this year. You got a new head coach, you got a new offensive coordinator, you got a new defensive coordinator, and not having two games to really be able to kind of figure it out. Like you watch the Wisconsin game, you learn a lot about Penn State football. We don't really have that from them, so it's challenging. You're looking at film from Auburn, you're looking at film from South Carolina, you're looking at film from Boise, you're looking at film from really kind of all over the place to try to figure out who and what they're going to be, and that's why early season games can be challenging.
James, Adam felt here this weekend as honorary captain. What does it mean for your team to have him here? What's your relationship like with him?
Yeah, any of you guys, especially the guys like Mike, have been around a long time. Adam is an awesome guy. Obviously, was a highly recruited kid coming here. Was very well thought of while he was here. Then the injury happened. This community rallies behind all of our players, and then to see Adam battle through this and then be able to walk back and then going to law school and getting his law degree and being on the board at Penn State, and is involved in politics now. He's just an awesome guy. He's come and talked to our team before. I think he's a great example of perseverance and positive attitude. I'm a big fan of his, so it's great to have him back. He's come back a number of times. I'd like to get him back more involved at Penn State. I think he's a voice that needs to be heard, and he's just been a phenomenal representation of our university for a long time.
James, how much are nerves a factor in a game like this at this level, and can you compare it to maybe the NFL?
Yeah, I think in my opinion, nerves are natural. I think it's really how you view it, like anything else in life, right? If you look at the feelings that you have, the nerves, you can describe it as nerves. You can look at it as butterflies or that sensation that you're having. You can look at it as nerves, or you can look at it as my body pumping adrenaline into my system to get me ready for an adverse, challenging situation. It's just my body priming itself to get ready. And I think looking at it that way are two very different, distinct ways of looking at it that I think really impact, I think, your approach and how successful and how you can use that energy, in a positive way. So I think a lot of it's just how you look at it. I think, I'm a big believer that in college, in high school, the NFL, the more you invest, the more you prepare, the more confident you become because you know what you've done to get ready for the game. And I think when the confidence is coupled with that energy that's priming you to get ready, whether you're looking at it as nervous energy or whatever, I think is a recipe for success. Obviously, the longer you play, the more games you play, the more venues you play in, the more experience you have, you lose a little bit of that because you just have done it so many times. And again, depending on how you look at that and how you use it, it could be a positive. You're going to get less of that. If you've been in the NFL for 12 years, it's going to be very different than a rookie, obviously, and how your body reacts to that. And now you hope the experience outweighs your body priming you. You just become a vet in so many ways to know what you have to do to be ready to play at a high level. I hope that answers your question.
James, you had a chance to distribute a lot of snaps on Saturday. A few days later, did you feel like any freshman or second-year players, or maybe third-year players, took a step forward on the field for you?
Yeah, I apologize, Tyler. I probably would have been better prepared to answer that question on.
You're on to Auburn, aren't you?
Yeah. So I have all my notes, and I'm kind of thinking in that way. When is that? When Tuesday? When did we have the press conference?
Yesterday, yeah.
Oh, was it yesterday? Geez, it seems like 3 days ago. Sorry. I apologize. I don't know. Tyler, I can get back to you on that, but I literally, as you guys know, these are long days and they kind of all run together. That seems like an eternity ago that we played Ball State, to be honest with you. But nobody like significantly jumps out right now, but it was, I think, really valuable for us. Obviously, the one that you guys always ask about is the quarterback position. So, getting the quarterback in there and him throwing a touchdown was great. Chris told me there was some critiques about we should have got him in earlier. I get it. We planned on get him in earlier. It's hard to know. That if you get a 3 and out, he would have got in a lot earlier. They sustain a drive because your backups are in there and they got still a bunch of their starters in there. We would have liked to get him more time, but that's probably the one that jumps out just because of the position. And I know you guys have asked me that a ton of times. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
That's head coach James Franklin addressing the local media following practice on a Wednesday evening as we welcome in sophomore tight end Theo Johnson, who had a touchdown reception against Ball State. And Theo, head coach James Franklin was just talking about nerves and how this program uses it to your advantage. How do you do so?
I think for me, it's a lot of prayer. Before games, I pray a whole bunch, and I think that I give all my worries to God so that by the time the game starts, my nerves are still there a little bit, but I know that God's got me, and by the time the kickoff starts, I'm ready to go. So I think that's how I use it to my advantage.
Results also breed confidence. What did that first career touchdown catch mean for your confidence?
I think it was good to get in the end zone, Beaver Stadium. I think, going into this game now, I'm feeling really confident with the offense. As we keep on progressing, I think that the more snaps I'm getting, the more and more confident I'm getting. So I think going into this Auburn game, I'm feeling confident as ever.
Let me follow up on that. You talked about catching it in Beaver Stadium. Last year when you played, there was it was a gray out every game, not a white out.
Yeah.
What do you think it did for you and the team to play a game with 105-323 before you now play this game, the whiteout?
I think that it was really good because I think that, not having played in front of that many fans, like where I'm from, we get not a lot of fans at games. And I think that you kind of build it up a lot in your head. So I think it was good, Wisconsin and Beaver Stadium, because I think that once you get out there and you play, you're just playing football, and that stuff kind of doesn't really matter to you that much. But I think it was good because, you build it up a lot in your head, and once you start playing, you're just playing football. So I think that was good for us. Yeah.
A little different atmosphere than what you're used to say the
sure.
least. Now, you mentioned the word progression. How has the tight end room as a whole progressed through 2 games?
I think it's been awesome. I think that we all feed off each other. I got trust in all the guys in the room to get the job done. Coach Franklin says a lot all the time about, if one man has to tap out and next man in. And I think that really shows a lot in our tight end room because we got 3 guys that there's no drop-off at all. So I'm feeling really confident in all of us going into this game. We're all going to have big roles coming into this Auburn game.
And what do those relationships mean when a room is cohesive like that in terms of your development as a player, a teammate?
I think we've all really helped each other grow, especially this offseason, just because, we talk with each other about what we see them do that we like, and we add it to our game, and we correct each other and stuff like that. So I think when you have 3 guys that all are working for a common goal and working together, I think the competition's good, but at the same time we're competing, but we're also working together. So I think it's a really good relationship we got in the room right now.
It's a channeled competition.
Yeah.
You're all channeled in the same direction.
Sure.
Yeah.
How has first-year tight ends coach Ty Howell really challenged you guys, for the word that you use quite a bit? How has he pushed that group as a whole?
I think that he challenges us every day to bring our max effort. That's one thing he talks about every meeting, to really give our max effort, and he doesn't stand for loaf plays or not giving your max effort. If he knows that you have a ceiling of effort you can give and you're not giving it, he's going to be all over you. So I think that's one thing that he's really pushed all of us to give our max effort every play, because that's something you can control. That's one of the controllables. Other things, not so much, but you can always control your effort and your attitude, and that's one thing he talks about all the time.
Next time I see you, loaf will be the first time, as a matter of fact. what has been the greatest transition, because you're from Canada, to now playing at this level?
I think the game's definitely a lot faster. The field's a little smaller.
Yes.
The end zones are a little smaller.
Yes.
So I think, and obviously no forward motion, but that's something that you kind of catch on to a little quick. So I think, I'm in my second year now, so that's something that I'm pretty comfortable with the game here now.
You didn't walk out and say, where's the C? I don't understand what the C is.
Yeah.
Theo, last thing for you as we wrap up with sophomore tight end Theo Johnson here on the PSECU Weekly Game Preview. The stadium is right over your right shoulder right now. Last week was the first time that you've been able to walk in there with 105,000 plus fans screaming your name, screaming Penn State's name. This weekend specifically is one that you circle as a recruit attending Penn State University. When you walk through that tunnel, what goes through your head?
That's something that, the whole offseason and especially last season, not getting to experience that. A lot of us guys, we just sat in our living rooms, just putting on the whiteout from Michigan and kind of seeing how that is and just trying to picture in our heads what that's going to feel like. And it was a surreal feeling walking out Ball State last weekend. And, I'm still thinking about how it's going to feel this weekend walking out for Auburn. So it's something I've been waiting for a long time to get to experience it as a player. I've experienced it as a recruit, and even as a recruit, I get chills just thinking about it. So I'm really looking forward to playing in that type of environment for sure.
How much does that crowd actually make a difference?
Oh, it's a world of a difference for sure, because you feed off the crowd feeds off you. So I think that's something that is definitely a huge advantage for us, and it just everybody's fired up for sure.
110,000 plus inside Beaver Stadium this Saturday. That's tight end Theo Johnson. Theo, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. It was awesome.
All right, so let's head on over to Connor Griffin, who is over at the setting of College Game Day over on Old Main Lawn. Connor, I know that things are just starting to get set up, so give us a little tour if you can.
Sure thing. I'll do my best. How's it going, guys? I am here, as Mitch just alluded to, at Old Main. We are returning to Old Main after a brief hiatus, obviously, when College Game Day first rolled into town a couple years back in 2017. We were here in 2018. We are now back, and as you see, we have the set being put up all around. It's actually the 5th straight year that College Game Day has been at Penn State, making Penn State the first school, or the only school rather, over the past 5 years to host game day every single season. They've been unloading a bunch of stuff. They have about 1 production truck, and then 4 trucks lining Pollock Road that had all the equipment in it. And as you see around me, there is all the equipment. It's a lot of it. It's a lot. They've been forklifting. As you see over here, I believe we have the bleachers for the stage, or next to the stage, and then this is the roof of the stage that they're going to elevate. And then this will probably be all set up by tomorrow night. And then we'll have, pardon me, my finger is just in there. And then we'll have talent rolling in somewhere around tomorrow, maybe Friday. And then we'll get things going up here on Friday afternoon between College Football Live doing their taping, the David Pollacks and Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit's, all of them will be coming in here to Old Main. I think they're going to be doing a cornhole competition too. So that's definitely something to look out for. Mitch, Steve, I don't know if you'd be interested in forming a team, as we're starting to get a little bit of rain right here. It's definitely ominous right now, but it's going to get much livelier as the week goes on. You'll start to see this set go up, and this will really come to life. It's lining all of this sidewalk right here. It's just nothing but equipment from the trucks that have been, again, forklifted out over the past couple hours. So it's getting a little bit rainy. Mitch, I'll throw it back to you, but overall, it's going to be a great time here at Old Main. And if you are in town for the whiteout, be sure to show up to College Game Day on Saturday. Wear white. It's going to be electric. But with that, Mitch, I think I'll send it back to you.
Connor, you're a student at Penn State University currently, so you're getting a firsthand glimpse of where the stage is going to go, what the set's going to look like. If you were a student attending College Game Day on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, where are you going to stand?
Oh, well, I would probably be in the pit, most likely. That's going to be competitive to get into, but you're going to have to be waking up early. I think there are going to be people lining up here at 2 a.m. I don't know. That might just be a rumor. But I'd be in the pit. I'd want to be close to the stage. I might be able to get on the bleachers, maybe. I don't know. We have to figure it out. We have to figure out exactly what the plan is going to be. Obviously, there's a bunch of planning that goes into this weekend. It's the whiteout. A bunch of stuff going on around town, so definitely have to get that squared away for sure. But I'll be here. You can guarantee that. I will be here, loud and proud. I may not have a voice come game time, but I will be here.
And that is all that matters at the end of the day. The wild crowd over at Old Main for College Game Day, the 5th consecutive year that College Game Day has rolled into Happy Valley. And that's just a statement to what this program has done here in Happy Valley.
Exactly. It's why it's one of the premier programs in the country, and it's amazing the job James and his staff have done to get it to this point where it becomes a staple year in and year out. It's a real statement to what the fan base has meant, to how they responded to the whiteout, what it's meant, and the excitement. College football is meant to be not only competitive and winning, but fun. And Penn State, as we all know, is not just games, it's an event, and game day is a part of the event. And what James has done, what the football program has done, and what the fan base has done have made the event something that other people want to see.
All right, Penn State and Auburn this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time inside Beaver Stadium or on ABC. 110,000 fans will pack that stadium to see a full-on whiteout capacity crowd. Now, Steve, in about 60 seconds or so, when you look at Auburn and you've been able to break them down, what stands out?
Well, obviously they've got a veteran in Bo Nix, and Bo Nix is a guy that at home, look, at home he's been really good. Now we're looking at their defense. There's their quicks right there on defense, the way they play. Now here's Bo at quarterback. That's Tank Bigsby right there. Bigsby is a big-time running back, can run between the tackles, has speed. Now here's Bo loading it up, getting the ball downfield for a touchdown pass there to Robertson on that play there. There's the speed on the edge, the reverse, getting away from everybody to make plays. Robertson again. Nix is somebody that at home has 20 career touchdown passes and 1 interception at Jordan-Hare Stadium. But you know what? On the road, he's 54% with 9 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, Mitch. That's something to watch for in the game. And they've got, look, defensively, this is Finley throwing the ball here. And that's the touchdown pass to Johnson, Malcolm Johnson right there. I know you're testing me as to whether I know the players or not. And this is the true freshman Hartzell out of Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Now, Steve, there might be people that look at Auburn's record and the amount of points that they have scored so far this season. You could say, well, yeah, you can look at the schedule, but Penn State has had to play a Big Ten opponent in Wisconsin, and they were able to come out against a Ball State team last week and really control that game from start to finish. But how much of a factor does that play in this one?
All true. You've been tested across the board. Ball State's very good. We know what Wisconsin is. Now let's flip it over to Auburn. New team, new coach, new coaching staff, and you put up the points that they put up, and here's their block punt last week. They just completely overwhelmed them at the line of scrimmage. But you get confidence out of this. Now, is it false bravado? Well, I think by the middle of the second quarter we'll find out how false it is or how real it is. But you do walk out of this with a semblance of, hey, look, we got some confidence. We can put up some points. They're not going to walk in here afraid. They played at Alabama and LSU. But the factor of the crowd, let's talk about that for a moment. It's not the whiteout. I understand the whiteout's the big thing. But there's another element here. A lot of these Auburn players, some of them have never played in front of a crowd on the road before. And Auburn has not played in front of a capacity crowd, have not played more than 20,000 people in 22 months. Right? So there are people who have done it, but it's been a long time since they've done it. And so it takes a lot of communication to do that, and that's where the crowd comes into play.
Great point there by Steve Jones, who will be on the call on the Penn State Sports Network alongside Jack Ham on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And fans, don't forget to join us ahead of Penn State and Auburn for the Unrivaled pregame show, where Steve will also make his weekly appearance with us over at Team Arrival. That will be at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time at the Team Arrival site up on stage. Come have some fun with us, make some signs, stop by, tell your friends right there. That's exactly where we'll be, where that person's running by right now. Come join us, have some fun. Once again, 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't join us, you can view us on Facebook, Twitter, Lion Vision, or YouTube as well. That's the Unrivaled pregame show this Saturday starting at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, if you are going to come to this weekend's game, make sure to download your tickets ahead of time. An overwhelming positive turnout when it came to this, so make sure that you are one of those positive outcomes this weekend. So save your ticket to your Apple Wallet or Google Pay before arriving on game day. That's going to save you so much time on game day when you arrive to the stadium.
So it's going to be much easier for you and much smoother for everybody at the gate. Just get in. Don't even worry about it. Take care of it ahead of time, and then just scream loud, scream proud.
Scream loud and scream proud. Know before you go as well, and that revolves around the parking. map that you're going to see right here, that's the parking for Penn State football games. So be sure to take a good hard look at that. If you do see your lot on there, make sure you know exactly which direction you're going to come from on game day. That's also going to save you a lot of time.
There's also signs on the roadways that will say WESN, and so you'll be able to pick out, okay, I know I'm in the east lot, I'm following the right route. So just plan that out ahead of time, make life easy. Kickoff 7:30, you got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Do you know the last thing we're going to try to let the fans know? We've done the ticket. We've done traffic and parking. Clear bag policy.
Okay.
That's what we're
clear
getting
bag.
to.
Let's go to clear bag.
Clear bag policy. Just make sure that you guys, if you are coming to the stadium on Saturday, that you do have a clear bag with your possessions. Don't be that person that shows up to the gate, tries to walk through the metal detectors, only to realize that you can't bring your bag inside. So just make sure you take another good hard look at that for the clear bag policy before you arrive to Beaver Stadium.
And again, all of this most of you are used to. So you already know about it. It's for those who may be rookies to this. You're Penn State fans. You're not rookies.
This town will be absolutely on, I don't even know, the noise control. I don't know what you want to call it, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, make sure that you have a plan ahead of time as far as getting to Beaver Stadium, because this town will be packed. People have already started to roll into State College, and it's only Wednesday. 7:30 kick, Penn State and Auburn inside Beaver Stadium. That wraps up our PSECU Weekly Game Preview.
This is the day. We will know a whole lot by the time the dust settles.
Welcome back to Happy Valley. Everything matters. That's where we win right here. Not on the field.
But where we want to be at the end of the season starts with our mentality and our attention to detail today.